Okay, workers' ownership of the means of production. It sounds like a very simple idea, but I don't think that's the case, at least not in practice. To illustrate, let's say we have 10 individuals, a group of individuals that want to start manufacturing shoes. So they begin, they have to create the machine, they have to design it, and they have to spend time and effort, and they have to save money, and, in order to do so, they have to sacrifice present consumption, to save in order to achieve their goal. So let's say it takes them 5 years of researching and trying to design this machine and of saving and sacrificing, and after this 5 years they manage to get the business off the ground. And let's say it does become a very successful business, and this people are the workers, they operate the machines, they take care of the cells, they clean up, they do everything. So let's say they have plans to increase production in the future. So they decide to save, 30% of their income. And they have to do this for 15 years in order to save enough money to be able to buy more equipment, more machines, and expand. So after, they accomplish this, 15 years pass by of them sacrificing their income and part of their income to do this. And let's say the demand is there, the business is successful, so they expand and they're getting ready to increase production. But in order to do so, they need to hire more people to operate the machines. But in your type of society, this is not it's not allowed. So they basically need, let's say they need 20 more people to help them with the expansion. So they basically this 20 people are going to become new partners, part owners of the company. Do you think it's just for this 20 new partners to just get the same amount of income as the founders of the company, even though they didn't have to sacrifice for those 15 years, they didn't come up with the idea, they didn't basically put anything into it, and they're just going to come in and get the same income as the founders? It seems this is not just, and in this type of society, this type of economic system, seems that there wouldn't be much incentive for increased production. What would be the point of increasing production and sacrificing present consumption to do so if in the future you're going to end up the same, the same living standards? So it seems like this type of society is not conducive to wealth creation, which is basically, wealth is just production. In order to have consumption, you need production. Production comes before consumption, so that is wealth. And it seems this type of society would naturally be a poor society, or poorer than it would be under a freer system. So let's say that's not what you're saying, and in this society there is room for increased production. So let's say that they decide to ask these 20 new partners to buy their share of the company. So they decide that they have to do the same thing the founders did, and they're required to save, basically pay the founders 30% of their income and for 15 years in order so that they can become owners of the company. Let's say that, automatically the founders are going to have a higher income than the new partners, because they're going to be getting this 30% on top of their income that comes directly from their labor, because they're still operating machines, because in your society they have to. So let's say the founders have very frugal lifestyles. They're not that much into having fancy cars, fancy house, fancy clothes. They're not that much into that, so they decide to save the extra income they're getting, and they decide to reinvest. And the demand is there, so they want to increase production more. So they buy, more equipment, they expand the facility, so they need 20 new partners, more, 20 new more partners. So in order to be fair and just, they have to ask the same of these new partners. So they are required to pay 30% of their income for 15 years. And let's say, so this automatically will even increase the income of the founders more as opposed to the new partners. And let's say that the founders, the new partners, they're not that much into growing. They're comfortable with their income and they don't really want to work, so they don't save. They spend the money, they buy a nice house, they take vacations, they buy their cars, they spend their money. They're not interested in really increasing their growth. So naturally, in this type of society, there would be income inequality. It seems like if in what you're saying, the type of society you're saying, people just have to allow the new partners to come in and just share in the wealth, even though they didn't originally sacrifice and help develop the company. This type of society, because of human nature, is not gonna be inducive to wealth creation. If what you're advocating is more of the latter, where in your society there is room for increased production and growth. So in this type of society, you would have income inequality like you do in capitalism. So I don't really understand how in practice your society would work. And I don't, thinking about it, I don't really think that a society with 100% economic equality is a just society. Because if there are people that work harder and, they're more creative, they spend more time working, and it seems like the just thing to do is that they would be rewarded more than people that don't work as much, or not because they're lazy, just because that's not their priorities. It seems like individuals, we're different. We have different desires, different wants, different things that we want in life. So maybe someone it's more interested in spending more time with their family, enjoying their kids, taking vacations, more relaxing more, and other people are more workaholics. It seems that naturally there will be income inequality in any just and free society, just because of the nature of people. We're all different and we all have different priorities in life. So I just don't really understand how your society would work and the economic, aspect of it. And that's it.